Hello friends, I am Gaurav, and today we are going to talk about a science experiment that reveals the cruelty and monstrosity of humanity. For several days now, many videos about the Russian sleep experiment have been going viral on the internet. You might have also watched several of these videos or read about this somewhere on the internet. But is this really a cruel truth of science? Well, in this video you will find out exactly that, and I will share some facts about the Russian sleep experiment that will absolutely blow your mind. If you have a weak heart, then don't watch this. Otherwise, stay till the end, because in this video I will make some revelations that will open your eyes to the truth itself. So friends, in 1940, the Soviet Union selected 5 prisoners of different ages from the enemy army for this experiment, and these 5 prisoners were locked in a room for 30 days. On the condition that if they successfully completed the experiment without sleeping for 30 days, they would be released unharmed. Saying this, they were placed in a room where they were provided with food to eat, water to drink, a toilet, and some books to read, but they were not given any facilities to sleep or even to sit. To monitor the experiment, 2 one-way mirrors were installed because at that time there were no CCTV cameras. The aim was that those 5 prisoners would not fall asleep. That's why in that room, an experimental poisonous gas was gradually released in proper proportion along with oxygen. This gas was a chemical stimulant like cocaine or amphetamine, which could keep them awake. For the first 4 days, everything was normal. But from the 5th day, the prisoner's restlessness suddenly began to increase, and on the 9th day, one of the prisoners, having lost his mental balance, screamed continuously for 3 hours, causing his vocal cords to rupture. The effects of this gas were now becoming equally apparent on all the prisoners, causing them all to mutter in strange ways. The researchers began to gradually increase the amount of that toxic gas along with oxygen in their room every day. The next day, one of the prisoners tore pages from the books provided and stuck them over the mirror so that the researchers couldn't see inside, and after that, silence spread throughout the room. However, the researchers could tell from the oxygen usage in the room that all the prisoners were still alive. When no sound was coming from inside, the researchers began to suspect that perhaps all the prisoners were on the verge of death. At that moment, they decided to remove the poisonous gas from the room and open it. As soon as the researchers informed the prisoners that they were coming in, a chilling voice came from inside, in which one prisoner said, "We don't want freedom, we want to stay right here." This was a shocking thing. They had started enjoying being in that chamber. They wanted to stay awake like that forever. In that same room, all the prisoners began begging the researchers to release the gas into their room again and to leave them there to their own devices. All the researchers were left wondering what exactly was happening to these prisoners. But still ignoring their pleas, as soon as the researchers entered the room, they found that all the food was untouched. The floor was stained with blood, and on that very floor, the prisoners' severed limbs were lying around so they could eat them later. Some prisoners were tearing off and eating their own flesh. It was a horrifying sight. One prisoner had eaten so much of his own stomach that his bones had started to show. When the prisoners were taken away for treatment, they began begging to be taken back to that same room. And even after being given 8 injections of morphine ether, kind of dose that would render any normal person unconscious, those prisoners remained fully awake and were requesting the doctors to perform their operations while they were still conscious because they had started to enjoy the pain during the surgery. As the doctors performed the operations, the prisoners began to smile. However, during these operations, 3 out of the 5 prisoners died. But friends, this research was not stopped here. In fact, the commanding officer of the Soviet Union ordered the experiment to continue because he wanted to see what would happen if the remaining prisoners were exposed to the gas again. This experiment was now taking a monstrous turn, which is why the researchers wanted to stop it right there. But because of the commanding officer's order, not only did they have to continue the experiment, but 3 researchers were also put into the same room along with the 2 remaining prisoners. When the remaining 2 prisoners were being tied to the bed to be taken back to the room, they were struggling a lot. But as soon as they found out that they were going to be put back in that room with the gas, both prisoners suddenly stopped struggling and started smiling. Seeing this, one of the 3 researchers got scared, and in his fear of these bizarre prisoners, he ended up shooting the commanding officer. After that, trembling, the researcher asked one of the prisoners, "Who are you really?" And the answer that the prisoner gave was truly terrifying and filled with savagery. Laughing, he said, "I am a shadow within you, the one you never let out. I am the one you are afraid of at night.
I am that evil inside you, which you always keep suppressed." Upon hearing this, the researcher shot both prisoners as well as the two remaining researchers and finally shot himself too, burying the secret of that experiment right there. And it is said that after that terrifying incident, no such experiment was ever conducted on any human again. But in 2009, this experiment was brought to the world's attention by an unknown account on a website called Creepypasta Wiki, and it was claimed that this was a secret that had been deliberately hidden from the world. That was the story of the experiment. Now we will see how much truth there actually is to it. When the Russian government was asked about this experiment, they clearly denied that it ever took place. If we look at it from a scientific perspective, in this story, it was claimed that during the operations on those prisoners, they stayed alive for a long time even after air entered their hearts. But this is impossible. If even a little bit of air enters a person's heart, they will die instantly from a heart attack. So the question definitely arises, how were those two prisoners able to stay alive for so many days even with air in their hearts? This is where the experiment fails. Apart from this, no stimulant drug has ever been observed in any research to alter a person's personality in such a way that they start enjoying pain. These days, anyone can make anything go viral on the internet, and we end up believing it to be true without verifying it. This experiment was also just an invention of some writer's imagination, which to this day continues to deceive the world as if it were true. There has never been any solid evidence of this experiment presented to us, nor has anyone in history taken responsibility for it. And friends, as I've said before, to use the internet you don't just need a geo network but also critical thinking. So friends, this was the real truth, or story as you might call it, of the Russian sleep experiment, which many people had come to believe was true. I hope you liked this video and learned something new from it. What do you think? Could there be even a little bit of truth in this story? Yes or no? Be sure to share your opinion with us in the comments. We'd love to know. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and share it. And for more science videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel